You can have any tunes you want going, or you can listen to mine. But we're gonna find a space on our mat, and you just want to find somewhere that feels comfortable. So I like to sit on a block. I like to have one foot in front of each shin. And then we're just gonna start off with rolling those shoulders up and back. It's been a while, if you haven't done yoga with me in a while. It's about how your body feels in movement, less about copying or doing exactly what I'm saying to you. So if it feels good to bring those arms up and then bring them down, just whatever feels the best for you. Because all we're doing right now is just checking in, seeing what feels good, seeing what's tight. So I'm gonna roll my shoulders a couple times. I might roll them back. I might roll them forward. Kind of depends. Forward is always weird for me. Might alternate. And then I'm just gonna come back to center for a minute, and I'm just gonna go side to side and find that nice stretch in my neck. I might help it a little bit. I'm never forcing it. I'm just checking in to see where my body is at today, how I slept. Ooh, that's tight. And just making a note of what I need to pay attention to while we move. If at any point in time while we're moving that you're like, whoo, I need to take a break and go to child's pose, you just simply go to child's pose and you catch back up with me wherever we're at. Practice is more about you and your movement than it is about following my instructions. Now, I'm gonna have a nice posture, and I'm gonna go chin to chest, and I'm gonna keep that nice posture, and I'm gonna take my hand to the back of my head. And feel that nice stretch in my upper back. So I don't wanna be like this and rounded. I wanna take a nice spine and just find that stretch. Then we're gonna do one of the ones I love. I call it like Charlie Brown's mom. So you're gonna go up and look to the ceiling, but then you're gonna open your mouth and close your mouth, and you're gonna stretch the front part of your neck. So it looks like this. It doesn't look cool and it doesn't sound cool. Oh yeah, oh wah 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 wah. That's why I call it Charlie Brown. So you're stretching all those muscles in your jaw and your throat and neck. And bring it back to center. Then I might go side to side. I might roll it around all the way, halfway. Whatever feels good to me. Nice. Now, same position. I'm gonna take my right hand by my hip. I'm gonna keep a nice tall spine. I'm gonna push my left hip out and bring my left arm over and just find a nice little stretch. I get a little bend in my right elbow. And then I'll switch when I feel comfortable. So left hand comes down, ribs stay in, right hip goes out, and we reach over. Ooh. And you're trying to find length. And you can just alternate at your pace. You might get to a spot and be like, oh, that feels amazing. And you might just hang there for a minute and take a couple breaths. That's totally acceptable, totally fine. Nice. And when you come back to center, I want you to find a seated position where your just hands can be palms up or palms down. Shoulders are gonna come down from your ears. And you can start off with your eyes open. When you're ready to just gently close down your eyes, you certainly can. So it's completely up to you. But I want you to start off taking a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And just take a few moments just to notice your breath. Is it really choppy? Is it really, are you anxious and it's up in your chest? Or usually for me, my breath is usually in my chest at the beginning of a class, and then I really have to just focus on my exhale, allowing that to come down into my belly, letting my shoulders come down from my ears. And I just want to take a few moments just to check in solely with my breath. So deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out to your mouth. And just find a nice little rhythm to your breath, where you're bringing it out of your upper chest and allowing it to go down into your belly like a balloon. Let it get big all the way around. And then as you start to settle into your breath, I want you to do a little scan from the crown of your head down to the tip of your toes. Almost like you're following like a ball of light from the top of your head all the way down your spine and going all the way down into your toes. And as this comes up and down your body, I want you to notice areas that feel awesome and amazing. Areas that might need some attention, might need a little bit of work today. But all class, our focus will be moving our body and connecting our breath to it. So we may not look the same, and that is okay. Because you want to connect with your movement and connect your breath to that. So deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Let the shoulders come down from your ears. Let your sit bones press into the block or the mat. And now find 10 slow inhales and exhales. Trying to make your exhale just a count or two longer than your inhale. Ten slow breaths. Once you find 10, you'll open your eyes. And then you'll come off your block if it's there, and you'll just set it to the side. If you don't have a block, that's fine too. So let's start off. I'm gonna bring both my legs in front of me. I'm not gonna be directly in front of me, but I'm just gonna be like between hip and shoulder, okay? I wanna think about not overarching my back here. I wanna just keep good position. And we're gonna start just by bringing arms up for a sec, reaching up to the sky, and then I'm gonna lengthen forward. So I'm pushing my hip back. Once I find that tension in my hamstrings, I'm gonna stay there. And it might just be here, and I might be reaching forward. And that's okay, I'm looking for a stretch. I'm gonna inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, I'm gonna bring it back down. And you just wanna find a nice stretch in the low back, but you don't wanna overextend your ribs. Nice, give me like 3 or 4 of them. And just find some length down your body. Nice. Now, when you've got about 3 or 4 of those there, I want you to just sit like you have, get a little comfy on your sit bones. Take your right leg, and it can either be on the outside of your knee or it can be on the inside of your knee, either or, whatever works best for you. I want you to think about lengthening up. Take your left hand to the outside of your knee. Take your right hand behind you on fingertips. So I'm gonna lengthen up, and then I'm gonna gently twist. And if at any point in time you wanna come out of this and come back into it, you think about lengthening up and then bringing yourself a little bit more. Or you find that really good position and you stay there. And then we're gonna switch. So same thing, left foot can be by the knee or on the other side of your right knee. I'm gonna go fingertips behind me, right hand is gonna come to the outside of my left knee. I'm gonna lengthen up. So if you're here, you wanna think lengthening up. And then I'm gonna gently twist. And we're not forcing it. We're just thinking about, hey, where can I go? Where can I find really good position and get a nice stretch? And if you can go further, awesome. You can find behind you this way too, where I take my left hand and bring it across my back. Nice. Now, you're gonna come over to tabletop. So for tabletop, I want you to come here. I like to stack wrist, elbow, shoulder. And my knees, I tend to not be directly under my hips. I tend to go between hip and shoulder. So it's a little wider. I want to think about just having a nice table position. So here's my braced position, right? So here's my cat. Here's my cow. Here's my neutral. Okay? So we're just gonna do a little cat-cow, so it's up to you. Now for me, and you go at your pace, for me, I don't get a whole lot out of cow right here, so I actually use blocks. And I do this because I hyperextend. So for me, I get more out of being neutral here and then dropping into this, because now I can get a little bit more of a stretch. I then bend my elbows, I press it up like a scared cat, but don't forget your head and neck. So many times we hold that tension here. Relax your head and neck. And then you just go at your pace and check into what feels good. Now we're gonna go into a thread the needle, but with thread the needle, a lot of times when you go into this pose, we just get here like this. That's not what we're doing. We're gonna work our way into this pose. So I'm gonna take my left hand to the outside of my mat. I'm gonna make sure there's some room, so not directly underneath my hips, I'm a little wider. Keeping those ribs in, I'm gonna bring my hips over to the left and I'm gonna feel a stretch in my right inner thigh. And then I'm gonna bring my hips over to the right and roll my right arm up. So now I have a stretch in my left inner thigh. And then I'm gonna take my right hand and I'm gonna thread it through. So I'm gonna place down back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder and get a nice little stretch. Now, I'm not gonna stay here. I'm gonna inhale, I'm gonna bring it back up. I'm gonna exhale, I'm gonna thread it through. Back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder. You get a nice little stretch in your back, upper back. And you can take 3 or 4 times to come into this pose, but so many times we jump into a pose so fast and we don't find the proper positioning for our body. So when I finally come into this pose and I'm gonna set the side of my head down, I can leave my left hand on the ground and just kind of gently get a little deeper of a stretch. And I'm grounding into my back right hand. Now, if I feel good here and I want to bring my left arm up, I can bring it up. I can bind it behind me. Just make sure that left shoulder isn't coming towards the floor. You want to externally rotate it. You can reach for your right quad if you can get over there. Otherwise, you can be here against low back. You can be here. You can be here. And you're just trying to relax your breathing down. And when you're ready, you will release if you're bound. You'll come back to center. You might cat-cow a couple times. And then we're gonna switch sides. So I'm gonna come this way. You can stay exactly where you're at. So I'm gonna take my left hand to the outside of my mat. I'm gonna bring my hips over to the left to get a stretch in my right inner thigh. I'm keeping my ribs in. I'm gonna bring my hips over to my left, roll that left arm up. Thread it through, so back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder, nice little stretch. And then it's about connecting your breath to your movement. So you might be like, ooh, I found this spot, this feels amazing, that's where I'm gonna go. And when you find that position, you're grounding into the back of your left hand. You're gonna roll that arm up if it feels comfortable to you. Bind it if it feels comfortable to you. Otherwise, you can always keep it right on the ground. Totally acceptable. And breathe. And then when you're ready, you'll bring it back to center. You'll cat-cow a couple times if that feels good. And then I'm gonna walk my hands forward about half a step. I'm gonna curl my toes and I'm gonna find a down dog. Ooh, tight hamstrings. So I'm gonna walk it out. I'm a huge one for this. You wanna lift up your hands, bend your knees, move your body and check in. Because if you just go here, that doesn't do a whole lot. So we wanna think about moving, we wanna think about breathing, we wanna think about connecting our body to that. Now I'm gonna bend my knees, I'm gonna look at my hands, I'm gonna step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, we're gonna lengthen up, keeping those ribs in. Exhale, and I'm gonna fold. Now if I notice I can't get to the ground, I'm gonna bend a leg, straighten a leg. I do that all the time because it allows me to get into those hips a little bit more than I normally do. Now I'm gonna bend both knees, I'm gonna ground into the floor, I'm gonna roll myself all the way to standing, I'm gonna squeeze my glute just gently, I'm gonna bring those arms up, and I'm gonna go where I want. This is like yogi free-for-all right here. So this is one of my faves. I like to go here, and I like to roll my whole body around. And I might do some goalposts, I might do a little, it kind of depends what feels good to your body. Now we're gonna come back to center, we're gonna exhale, we're gonna fold it all the way down. We're gonna bend and move if we're tight. And we're gonna go fingertips to shins, lengthen up. So you wanna think ribs in, you wanna feel the stretch down your hamstrings, and almost like you're making a straight line from the crown of your head to the tip of your tail. Now plant your hands down, step back, hop back, jump back, high to low. So high push up to low. If you have low back stuff, you want to go to a Sphinx pose where you're pressing into your forearms. I want you to squeeze your butt and keep your ribs in as you lengthen up. So this is the one where a lot of people, or we can go cobra, or baby cobra. A lot of times people will do this and just crank it up. I want you to think about, watch my ribs right here. I'm pressing through my hands, I'm squeezing my butt, ribs stay in, so then I find the length. So it's less about compressing my back, and it's more about just finding a nice length all the way down my back. Now, I'm gonna curl my toes, bring my hips up and back and find my down dog and walk it up. Nice. Now, you're gonna get your right foot to your hands, any which way you wanna do it. I have a little way that I use physics, but basically right foot to your hands is where you're gonna be in a low lunge. So I'm gonna come forward into bear crawl. I'm gonna lengthen my right leg high to the sky and step my hands back. I'm gonna come up on the tippy toe of my left, bring my right leg in and up to my chest, to my hands. And then I'm gonna shimmy back my left foot. So I'm looking for this position. I tend to use blocks, and then I'm gonna lower down that back knee. So this position, like if I had no blocks, I'm just falling into my joints like this and just trying to get there, which is why I use blocks, because now blocks, I can press into that and notice the length from my knee all the way up my body. So I want you to set yourself up where you have a slight angle on your front right shin and your whole foot's down. What I'm gonna do is line up my right knee with my right heel, and then I get a deep stretch right here and not pushing out your ribs or overarching your back. We're gonna find this position for a second, we're gonna breathe. So deep breath in through your nose, exhale out to your mouth. Your stretch should be isolated in your left hip, left quad. Should not be feeling this in your back. If you're feeling this in your back, keep those ribs in, don't overarch like this. Now this is the fun part. You're gonna keep that heel where it's at, but what I'm gonna do is hinge back my hip, heel stays. Now I'm getting that right hamstring. Ooh, that's tight. We're gonna hold there for a minute. So the heel doesn't slide back, You're just going from a right hamstring stretch, and then now I'm gonna come forward back into that same left hip stretch. So we're going hip and hamstring. And then I'm just gonna connect my breath to it and move how it feels good. So what we don't wanna do is if when we come back here, we don't wanna slide our heel back just to get our butt back here. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to be from here in this good stretch to coming back here and finding that opposing stretch. Ooh, that feels a little better. Now you're gonna bring that leg behind you. You might hip circle it if it feels good to you. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna find a down dog. I'm gonna keep my ribs in and I wanna look like a triangle. So if you look like you're here, you're too far forward in a plank, you wanna press back into that triangle. So you're gonna bring your left foot to your hands, or you can come into bear crawl and then lengthen that leg high to the sky. Come up on the tippy toe of the right, bring that left knee in and up to your chest, to your hands. So I'm gonna shimmy back my back foot. I'm gonna lower back down my back knee. So I'm gonna grab my blocks, because I know myself. Slight, really slight angle in that front shin. Because when I press into that right hip, I line up my left knee with my left heel. If you have really good posture, you can even be here too, where I'm pressing my knee away from me, and it makes a deeper stretch. So your stretch right now should be in your left hip, not your back. We're breathing, so if you notice your breath getting like up into your chest, take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And then hinge your hip back, find that opposite stretch in the hamstring. Ooh. And then it's at your will, so you find a really good body position, and then you hinge it back, and then you hinge it forward. And you're just thinking about not pushing your ribs out, not overarching your back, and just finding some range of motion in that hamstring and that hip, and connecting your breath to that. Now when you're ready, you'll release that leg. You might hip circle. I'm gonna take a moment to go knees wide, big toes to touch, slide it back into a child's pose. Same thing here, it's really easy to press your ribs towards the floor. Think about keeping your ribs in and sending your butt back towards your heels and reaching your hands forward, spreading them wide, so we're not overarching our back, we're more pressing our hips back towards our heels and keeping those ribs in. You can set your head down if it feels good to you. You can be wider with the arms if you need. Deep breath in through your nose. On that next exhale, you're gonna bring yourself back up to tabletop. You're gonna curl your toes. You're gonna bring your hips up and back. Find that down dog, walk it out. Now bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, we're gonna lengthen up. Exhale and fold. Maybe you're getting closer, maybe you're touching the ground. And bend your knees, ground into the floor. Roll yourself all the way up to standing, gentle little squeeze. Go where you want to go. Nice. Okay, so bring the arms down. Let's do eagle arms, just because it's a great arm stretch, and then we're gonna go into some hamstrings. So, if you watch me up here, you're gonna take your right hand, and you're gonna bring both your arms up, you're gonna bring the right arm underneath left. Now you might be here, you might be here, you might be here, just kind of depends wherever you're at. There you go, nice. Now we're not worrying about legs right now. Maybe we'll do this for balance after. What I want you to focus on, so if you can see me here. So what I see a lot of is this, right? So I want you to think shoulders back and down, and then bring those fingers towards your face. So see this tight little box I have right here, right? Even when I'm gonna go about hip width for my legs, and I'll show you this when I back up. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this part of me close. So I'm gonna push my hip back and see how my arms don't move. And now I get a nice little stretch. Now what I see people do a lot is this. They'll have this, and then they'll push back, and then watch my arms. Okay, don't want that. So we wanna keep it nice and tight. And then we're doing this. We're just kicking it back, a little bend in the knee, so I get a little bit of hip too. And then when you're ready, you'll release and shake it out. And then we'll do the other side. Nice, Melanie. Okay, so left arm coming underneath right. Hugging those, so shoulders back and down, bring it here. Go about hip width apart. Toes can turn out a bit if you need it to. And then keeping those arms close, push that hip back. Bring it back up. If you keep your shoulders back and down, it's a nice shoulder stretch and also a hip stretch, and we're not worrying about the balance right now. And then release. Okay, I'm gonna get you with a high lunge, but pay attention to this one because I do this a little different than most. Classical, you'll see this, right? Horrible on my back. So we're gonna be mindful about body position. So what I'm gonna do is step back with my left, right? And right now, my pelvis, like if my knee is locked back here, my pelvis will say this is my pelvis, and this say it's a bucket. It is literally this way. So if I had water in my bucket, it's all falling out. So I need to get it this way, and this is how we fix it. So I'm gonna bend that back knee. I'm gonna bring my one hand in my belly, one hand in my low back. I'm gonna squeeze my butt. When I squeeze my butt, you'll feel this left quad fire. And then you're gonna lengthen up, keeping your pelvis here. Send your heel back, but do not touch that heel to the floor. You will find a big stretch right here. So we're gonna step back again. You ready? So we're gonna step back with our left. You're gonna bend your knee, squeeze your butt, keep your ribs in, fix that pelvis. Lengthen up while maintaining that. Send that heel back, and you should feel a deep stretch in that left hip flexor. Keep your, if you can't keep your pelvis, like if it starts to go, you either wanna bend your knee, squeeze again and reset it, or if you can maintain your pelvis here, you can bring arms up. You can even shimmy that toe back and get a little deeper if you want. Now what I'll tell you is when you're ready to pop out of this pose, because you don't need to wait for me, don't just pop out, bend the knee, step it back forward, hip circle it out. So your goal is to feel that deep stretch in the hip. We'll do it on the left or right. FYI, it's the only pose I start on my left is this one. Everything else starts on my right. So I'm gonna step back with my right. I'm gonna shimmy my toes back. My pelvis though is going that way, so I'm gonna bend my knee, squeeze my butt, quad fires, lengthen up, send that heel. When you send that heel back but don't touch it, you feel that deep stretch here. Now if you touch your heel to the floor, it becomes a different pose. If you can maintain the pelvis, bring the arms up, lengthen that heel back a little more, but don't touch it. And find that deep stretch. Now find your breathing. Arms can be really anywhere you want them to be. Then bend the knee, step it forward, hip circle it. Woo, it's like a huge hip stretch. It's awesome and amazing. Okay, come to the top of your mat. What happened to my tunes? Don't know. There we go. Okay, bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold it down. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. Plant your hands down, step back, hop back, jump back, whatever feels good. And you're going high to low. And you meet me in down dog. So it's more about you moving to your breath and just meeting me where we're at. Now, your goal is going to be to right foot to your hands, any which way you want to get it there. So get that right foot to your hands. Now, I'm going to turn on the big toe mound of my back foot. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to put it on the inside of my right foot. I'm going to turn my right foot. And now I'm just going to ninja lunge side to side. I'm just going to find a nice little stretch in my inner thighs. Just a little one. Now I'm going to bring it back to center. I'm going to turn my front foot forward again. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to come back here, like a spider. I'm going to bend my knees, bring my hands to my quads, and then I'm going to stand up. So now what I want to do, turn out my right foot. But this is what I see all the time because we're coming into warrior two. Your hips shouldn't be open to here. Your hips should be open to here. So how do I fix that? So you can see my hips, right? So I'm going to lift my back foot, my heel, and maybe my toes a little bit and slide them back a little bit. I want to be about heel to arch. So I start off this pose straight leg because I want to find my lower body. So what I'm going to do, once I find this good position, I'm going to bend my knee. So notice if your knee is over your toes. So this is where I want you to be. What I see all the time is this from people, right? We don't want that. So you want to think about triangle almost. And then when you're ready, you're just going to drop down. So you should feel that here and here. And your torso should be tall. So I always take a few times to find this position and come in and out of it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to keep our torso tall, bring our arms out. So shoulders back and down, fingers wide, feeling this stretch in my inner thighs, strong warrior arms. Breathing. Now we're going to come into an extended side, but you're going to notice my whole lower body doesn't move. So I'm going to press into my right arm. On my knee, I'm going to bring my left arm up. So I might come here, look at my left fingers. I am making a line from my fingers of my left all the way down to my toes, but I'm not falling into my shoulder. So I'm keeping it engaged. Now I'm going to bring my right arm straight up and down. I'm going to take my left arm and bring it to my shin. And then I'm going to take my left hand and press back into a triangle pose. Now, you might stay here. You might inch it down further. You might bring your finger to the outside of your knee. Whatever works for you. I tend to be here sometimes. Now, when you're ready, you're going to bend your right knee. Yep, and left leg is going to come back, or left arm's going to come back. And then we're going to go reverse warrior. So you can either go like straight leg or a bent leg. It's up to you. Nice, then bring it back to a warrior. Pinwheel your hands, turn your back foot, step it back, walk it out. Ooh. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna switch sides though so you can see me. So now we're going left foot to your hands. Any which way you wanna get it there. You're gonna left foot will come to your hands. And then you're going to turn on the big toe mound of the back foot. You're going to drop it. You're going to take your left hand to the inside of your left foot. Turn your left foot. We're ninja lunging again. Side to side. Now when you're ready, you'll bend your knees. You'll bring your hands to your quads. You'll stand up. You're going to turn your left foot out. I'm going to lift my left heel and slide it back. So my hips are open to you guys and not to my desk. So my legs are straight first because I don't want to push the booty out. I'm going to show you this from this side. Because you don't want to push the booty out. So what I also see a lot of is this, right? So I'm going to keep myself nice and tall, and then I'm just going to drop into that knee. So just like I was doing, where I was going straight leg, bent leg, look at my torso. My whole upper body is staying where it should be. Okay? So, Now, we're gonna bring the arms into it. So we're gonna bring our leg down, arms are gonna come out, hips are open to you guys, or depending, you just don't want them forward, you wanna open to the side. Shoulders are back and down, fingers are spread wide. Now, I'm gonna bring down my left arm. I'm gonna still keep engaged there, and then bring that right arm straight up. So I'm making a line from those fingers all the way to those toes. And sometimes I'll use my arm to find length down my left quad. Breathe. Now we're gonna bring that left arm straight up and down. We're gonna take that right hand, we're gonna bring it to our shin, we're gonna press back into that triangle. Now, this is where you now adjust and go where you can go. So maybe I'm here. Maybe I'm up here more. That's okay. Maybe I'm to the floor. That's totally acceptable. You just own where your body is allowing you to go today. And then focus on your breath. Now I'm gonna come back to my shin. I'm gonna lengthen up a little bit, bend that knee, and come back into that warrior two. Find a nice warrior two, then I'm gonna take my back hand down my leg, and I'm gonna find a reverse warrior. And then when I'm ready, I'm gonna bring this all the way back. I'm gonna pinwheel my hands, turn, find my down dog, walk it out. And then I'm gonna bring my knees down, go wide again, and find a child's pose one more time. Keeping those ribs in, reaching your hands forward, maybe bringing your head down to your mat. And then when you're ready, you're gonna bring it back up to tabletop, maybe cat-cow once or twice. And then curl your toes, bring your hips up and back. Find your down dog. Walk it out, maybe you're getting a little closer to the ground. Don't overextend your back, keep your ribs in. Bend and move as much as you want. Then bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step, hop, jump, float, hobble, do whatever we gotta do. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. So bring the shoulders back and down, ribs stay in. It's like a straight leg deadlift. And your gaze is to the floor. So you wanna go from the crown of your head to the tip of your tail is one straight line. Then exhale and fold. Bend and move as much as you need. Maybe you're getting closer to the ground. Maybe you wanna grab your calves. One of my favorite things to do is take my hands and place it underneath. And press in. Hi, Karen, keep yourself muted, please, otherwise it will switch to you. Join us wherever, we're almost done. And then release, bend your knees, roll yourself all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze. And you go where you wanna go. Whew. Okay, we're doing a balance pose because I love balance poses. Okay, we are doing a warrior three, but you could also turn this into a dancer if you so choose. You can also have anything. I'll imagine, we're gonna imagine this is my wall. So that way, well, that way you can see me. So if I had a wall, I would even use a fingertip. So we're gonna do warrior three. Cool thing to do on warrior three. You wanna think about, because warrior three looks like this. Full expression of warrior three is right here. Now look at my foot that I'm balancing on. It's really easy to ride that outer arch, right? If you feel like you're riding the outer arch, uh-oh, I might have to run and grab my thing to plug in my computer. If you feel that you are riding the outer arch of your foot, I want you to ground into your big toe. So this is what I want you to do. And if you need something to hold on to, you totally can. That could be your wall. So I want you to come up here, ground into your big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel. And then I want you to push that hip back and reach forward. Now, if you have awesome balance, you can hold this. If you want to make it a moving one, you can come here and then come back here. whatever works for you. What you can also do is if your balance is really awesome, and you can totally hold on to a wall the whole time you're doing this. If your balance is awesome, you can come here and then pulse. So bend the knee, lift it back up. Bend the knee, lift it back up. Practice your right side, your left side. I gotta grab my charger for my computer so I don't die. Be right back. I'm back. Gotta plug this puppy in. Make sure I don't lose anything. You are practicing warrior threes on your right or your left side. Well, the things I gotta do to keep myself on here. There we go. Now we're charging. So we would have switched to our other side by now to come here. So helpful to have a wall because then you can totally hold that. I did not do that well. You can really get back here. So even if you have a fingertip on the wall or even a chair, I've used chairs before too. So once you get a warrior on each side, you can even do fun things like this and turn it into a dancer if your balance is spot on. So just think about that. If you're like, hey. And then we're gonna come and find a pigeon pose. So once you get a warrior on both sides, warrior three on both sides, then you can basically just bring yourself down to a down dog. If you have low back issues, you can always do this same movement on your back. So we're gonna bring that right knee towards that right wrist. I'm gonna slide back my left. So little things, don't flex your foot here. Just have it nice and in line with your shin so it's slightly pointed, almost like you're in a stiletto heel. And then I'm gonna shimmy back my back leg. And I might come to the side and to the other side if it feels good. Sometimes I like to be on fingertips and I lengthen up and then I bring it down. So my goal is to try to be off of my shoulders. So I want to not have these holding me up like this. Like I want to relax. And I want to find a good body position. Now, if that is not your jam, and you're like, ooh, Holly, that's a little too hard, like it's not easy on my back, right? I got a lot of peeps like that. Then you can come on your back and take your right ankle above your left knee. Now, the important thing here, try to keep your left leg at a 90 degree, because if we go here, it doesn't do the same thing. So if you're left leg 90 degree, your back's flat, and then I'm gonna put my hand here and pull that leg back. Now let's say you look like this, because you can't get there, right? You can take a band, you can take a sweatshirt, you can take a t-shirt, you can take a towel, like you can do anything. You're going to take it and you're going to use it like an extension of your hands. Why? Because look at the difference of this. If I can't get here, I'm here and I'm all crunched together. Or I have a towel, a band, a sweatshirt, done with everything. And you're right here. Now look at my shoulders can stay back and down, and now I can pull myself into that position, and I'm gonna flex that foot back towards me. And you feel that stretch in that right hip. So whether you're on your back or you're here, whatever works for you. So now I want you to find 5 breaths. Just find 5 deep inhales and exhales. And then when you're ready, you're gonna walk it back up. You might take a little stretch here. If you're on your back, you can just simply switch sides. Otherwise, we're gonna come back to our down dog. Press through your hands, press those hips back to the back of the room, and then we're gonna bring our left leg or left knee towards our left wrist. I'm gonna slide back my right. I like to do little fingertips, lengthen up first, maybe a little mini back bend depending on how I feel. And then I might walk it to one side. Now, so when I'm walking it to my right side, I'm gonna push that left hip out and I'm gonna reach my hands as far as I can go. And then I might walk it back and I might walk it to this side. And then when I'm ready, I will just chill wherever I want to be. And you're just gonna find that slow, relaxing breath. If you're on your back, then we do the opposite where we go left leg, left ankle above right knee, 90 degrees with the right leg, flexing that toe back towards you, keeping your back on the mat, and then, oops, wrong, I got that on the wrong thing, either clasping your hand behind your right quad or using whatever you have so you can keep your back and your shoulders on the mat and isolate that stretch in that left hip. All about isolating stretches and finding the stretch in the right place. And you just take a deep breath in, exhale out, give me like 5 or so breaths. And then when you're ready, you're gonna press yourself back up into a down dog. Now you might, I like to do one of these. Let's hinge forward and come to a plank. And then I'm gonna lower myself down and find just a nice little cobra. And then I'm gonna come up to tabletop and I'm gonna bring my knees wide and find a child's pose. What's nice is I like to connect breath and move. So from here, I might come up to tabletop for a minute and then come forward and find a nice little stretch on my wrists. Might come a little side to side depending on how it feels. If you're doing a movement the first time, don't do it quickly, do it slow. And then I might take one more moment just to slide back into a child's pose one more time. Nice, bring yourself all the way back up. Find a down dog. And bend your knees, look at your hands, step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, you're gonna lengthen up. Exhale, fold. Then bend your knees, ground into the floor, roll yourself all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze of that glute, bring it all the way up, nice big stretch. Hands come down to heart center and you are finding Shavasana on your mat. So know that you can take up as much space as you want. I am not all about like, don't be a rectangle. Be a crazy whatever, right? You can take up as much space as you want. You can have stuff underneath you. You can have a foam roller underneath your legs. You can have anything you want. All I want you to do is focus on relaxing your entire body and breathing. And I'll walk you through the rest. So prop yourself up, lay down. I'll wake you up if you fall asleep. No falling asleep. You can though, that's a big compliment. All right, so you're gonna lay down, you're gonna find a nice comfortable position. You're gonna take a deep breath in through your nose. You're gonna exhale out to your mouth. You're just gonna allow yourself to settle into your mat, settle into the earth. And give yourself this time to just simply relax, release, and seal in your practice. So start to relax your feet. your toes, the soles of your feet. Relax and release your ankles, the front, back, sides of your shins. Even let your kneecaps just sink down a little deeper to your mat. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Release your thigh bones into the back of your legs. And allow your legs and your feet to be fully supported by the earth that's underneath you. Release that grip, that tightness, that tension that we hold in our pelvis, and notice how much more open, relaxed, released your hips, low back are. Soften your belly. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. And notice how you don't have to put any effort into sending that into your belly. It's amazing what an hour of movement will do. Relax the front, back, sides of your ribs. Soften your skin over your heart. Let down some of those walls and allow yourself to be open to giving love, receiving love, and seeing all the love around you and inside of you. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Release your hands. Relax your fingers. Allow your fingertips to naturally just curl towards the palms. Settle into your forearms, elbows, upper arms. And soften your shoulders down from your ears. Release your jaw. Relax your throat. Allow your tongue to rest naturally on the roof of your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And let those little lines we get in our forehead, let those lines relax. Let all the thoughts, the worries, the fears, the to-dos, all the things that we are constantly thinking about and worrying about, let all of those things go and allow your mind to relax as much as you are allowing your body to, even if it's just for a moment. Feel the weight of your body settling in to the back of your body. And feel your body expand. Feel the front and the sides of your body expanding into the air around you. And allow yourself to take up space. Enjoy that spaciousness that you created inside and all around you. And feel that connection you have to yourself, to the earth, and to other people. So breathe in love for yourself, and breathe out love and kindness for others. So take a deep breath all the way down into the belly, and just let everything go. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And with your eyes closed, you can turn yourself to your right or your left side, either or. Take a moment just to find your breath. And then when using the arm you're not using as a pillow, you're going to use that to push yourself all the way back up to a seated position. Check in with your body, see how you feel. Hopefully she stayed awake. And then bring our hands to heart center. My goal is for you always to just feel amazing, but more amazing than how we started class. So if you feel better than when you started and you feel more connected to your breath, you have done an amazing job. So as I end every class, the light and teacher in me honors the light and teacher in each and every one of you. Namaste. And you all have a beautiful day.